Hey there, guys. Hello everybody, it's me, it's Ethan. It's nice to see you guys again. Today's video is something that I am very excited to finally be able to present to you all. You see, about the beginning of March, I began my very first Pokemon Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke Challenge. It was a long and grueling experience that took up the majority of the month, as well as a little bit of April actually. And it was incredibly hard. I had attempted Nuzlockes of Platinum and other Pokemon games in the past, typically with minimal success, and those were regular Nuzlockes, mind you. This particular Nuzlocke that I finished was a hardcore Nuzlocke, which we will get into when we discuss the rules of the challenge. And yet, despite it all, I was successful in completing it, and I'm here today to share with you guys the story of my last attempt at the Nuzlocke, attempt 7. I'd like to go ahead and outline the rules of the challenge. Standard Nuzlocke rules applied, so obviously first Pokemon on each route was catchable, everything other than that was not. I had to nickname everything to become more attached to them, and the most important rule of all, if Pokemon dies in battle, it is dead forever and cannot be used anymore. The hardcore rules that I played with are the following. No items could be used in battle. This includes things like potions and X items. I had to play on set battle style, which meant that every time I fainted an opponent's Pokemon, I wasn't allowed to switch out. I was not allowed to over-level past the next boss trainer's highest leveled Pokemon. And the last but most grueling rule of all was that if I whited out in battle, meaning all 6 of my party Pokemon fainted, that was considered a wipe, and I had to start over from the very beginning of the game. With all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive on into the story of my successful attempt at completing a Pokemon Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke. Now, our story actually begins in attempt 5. I was in the distortion world with my character, Queef. I had a pretty solid team. Honestly, we were pretty stacked. Well, with the exception of Thick Mel the B-Barrel, who dragged just a bit. I felt pretty good about things and made my way to the last challenge of the distortion world, Galactic Leader Cyrus. Unfortunately for Queef, my lack of game knowledge cost me the battle. Switching my Magnezone David into Cyrus's Gyarados led me a big fat earthquake, and with David down, it was a clean sweep for him. An unfortunate outcome for sure, and we find ourselves face to face with our next attempt, attempt 6, and oh god. We find ourselves at attempt 7. I named myself Cyrus in honor of the asshat that chokeslam dunked a child in attempt 5. Complete with my rival Cynthia, I begin the long, painful journey that is attempt 7. I start by doing miscellaneous rival things, and go to select my starter from Asshole Professor Extraordinaire. Now, my chat really wanted me to pick Piplup here, and like the benevolent, warm-hearted streamer that I am, I picked Chimchar. I beat the shit out of Cynthia, get my cocaine shoes, and help Cynthia walk 100 feet to a lake, where he yells me about balls or something, I don't know. We make our way east to Sand Gem Town, where we meet our useless pal, Lucas. He takes us inside to meet Professor Schmuck again, who lets us nickname our newly gifted Chimchar. I call him Piplup because I'm a very nice streamer who always gives his viewers what they want. After he gives us his funny book thing, we go buy some Pokeballs at the nearby Pokemart. Speaking of which, I actually had no idea until this very playthrough that you could even buy Pokeballs from the Pokemart before the catching tutorial. Did you know that? Is that common knowledge? Because I feel like I'm not aware of that. I'm a little shocked and a little disappointed in myself. Anyway, we make our way to our first encounter on the route next door, and it's a Starly. We catch it and name it B-Barrel, the only logical name for a small bird creature. We make our way to the lake to get our next encounter, a smoking hot Bidoof, who we catch and name Slave Mel, in honor of the many Melvs that had fallen before him. For a little bit of context to the joke here, a Melv is actually named after Melvin Capital, which is the hedge fund associated with the big GameStop meme stuff at the beginning of the year. It's all related, you know. It's spherical. It's spherical. It's spherical. What do you know? Melv is actually pretty great. Adamant and Simple is a phenomenal combo. And you, as viewers, might not know this yet, but Melv here is actually going to prove to be the most instrumental encounter in the playthrough to my success. Anywho, we tell our mom we're fucking off to kick names and take ass, mosey on up to the next route where we find our next encounter and intimidate Chinks. We name it Chaunters Jr., named after one of the biggest best viewers my chat has to offer. We bully some kids up north and find ourselves out of the sticks and into the big city of Jubilife. We go grab some guy's old rod and return once more to Twin Leaf Town, where we snag a big fat level 15 Magikarp. A level 15 Magikarp. Back in Jubilife, we complete our little errand for Cynthia's mom, get our pedometer from the snazzy man, and head north for our next encounter, a Badoo. This is Candice the Badoo. He is horrible, Anyway, rival time, baby! The Starly is easy enough to kill with Piplup, and the Faker Piplup goes down to intimidate Cheese from Shanks. Honorable? No. Necessary? Yes. Fast forward a bit and we get some new encounters, including this Onyx and Orbird Mine. Pretty rare and pretty neat, not gonna lie. His name is Rocknoodle. We get a Psyduck in Ravaged Path, appropriately named Cat Dog, who I plan on using primarily in the coming Rourke fight. We grind up a bit, get the team looking pretty hot, and take on Son of the Year Rourke for his right to own Pokemon. Or maybe it was just his gym badge, I don't know. The cocaine chews are really starting to get to me. Cat Dog pisses all over his Geodude and Onix, leaving the Cranidos left to bend me over. Now, smart boys and girls in the audience will know that this Cranidos is actually pretty scary. His headbutt does a lot of damage. Thankfully, I have Rocknoodle by my side, who eats physical attacks for breakfast. I pop off a Screech and switch into Piplup, who finishes the loser off with a Mach Punch. Easy gym badge, if I do say so myself. Fast forward a bit again, and we're now at the Valley Windworks. Some cucks are bullying a guy in the meadow, so we kick their teeth in and take their keys. Going through the works proper isn't that bad, but the Mars fight has got me quaking in my boots. Chonkers Jr. easily mangles the Zubat, and out comes the main course. We switch Cheese Intimidate between Chonkers and Rocknoodle before baiting a feint attack into Piplup and finishing it off with a Mach Punch. No deaths yet, Rourke and Mars down, and a pretty solid team so far. Temp 7's looking pretty good. We get our next encounter, a Buizel, on the next route up, named Fromage in honor of fellow streamer Pachoka. After a little bit of grinding and encounters, and also B-Barrel is now named Fappy Bird, we prepare to take on Gardenia. Taunting the Turtwig with Piplup prevents Reflect from coming out, which lets us come in and kill with Fappy Bird. We need to make sure that Piplup stays at relatively high HP, so that we can switch it into the Rose Raid and take as many hits as possible. The Cherim dies pretty handily from Fappy Bird without the sun up, and then the big boss comes out, her Rose Raid. We sacrifice Netbadel, a Dustox we caught in Eterna Forest, and our first death, to get a clean switch for Piplup in on the Rose Raid, who was able to easily best the Rose Raid and net me the Forest Badge. Now, it is at this point that I'm alerted to the fact by the chat that there is a chance for Bronzors and Mount Coronet to carry Metal Coats. And with our new TM for Thief that we got using the HM Cut, we find ourselves face to face with our next task. For the next 34 minutes, I grind through countless Bronzors in my quest for the Metal Coat before finally I managed to obtain Rocknoodle's special gem. We evolve our Rocky Boy into Steelix and make our way into Galactic HQ to wreck Jupiter and her stinky rat. The Zubat goes down in no time flat, and the Skuntank, usually a pretty significant threat, is screeched into -6 defense hell, allowing Fappy Bird to secure the victory. Afterwards, we snatch some wheels, ascend Rocknoodle to his true form, Iron Noodle, and begin heading down south to Hearthome. Unfortunately, we encounter our first actual death of the playthrough when a crit stomp finishes off Cat Dog. We pull out Fromage to replace him and mosey on about our day. Fromage is incredibly important here. The next level cap for me is 26. 26 happens to be the level at which Fromage evolves. It also happens to be the level at which it learns Crunch, which for Platinum savvy viewers is super effective against the next gym. After a lot, and I mean a lot, of grinding and a few encounters along the way, we turn Fromage into a fine-looking Floatzel and prepare to take on the next gym. We need some death fodder to take in though, and between level 15 and some Zubat named Rock Dwayne, we decide to bring the Air Rat into the battle to die. The team is looking pretty good. My main strategy for the fight is to get through everything but the Mismagius without damaging Fromage, sacking Rock Dwayne, and then switching in Fromage to seal the deal. The battle begins. The Duskull flinch dies from Chonkers, and I decide to toy with my food a little bit by switching stuff around. To say that I'm feeling confident is a bit of an understatement. We sack RD to bring in Fromage ahead of schedule so she can take out the Haunter and prepare for victory against Mismagius. We go to click Crunch, and watch as victory is assured right before our very eyes, and the Mismagius lives the crunch. But it's okay though, Fromage can tank at least one Shadow Ball and outspeed to get the... Fromage dies in one hit to a crit Shadow Ball. At this point, I start to panic. My entire plan rested on the shoulders of Fromage, and she is now dead. I switch in Iron Noodle to get off as many Rock Tombs as I can to lower its speed. We'll only get one off before Iron Noodle dies to a critical hit Magical Leaf. Panicked, I switch in Piplup, but second guessing my ability to outspeed, I switch into Fappy Bird, who dies at full HP to a critical hit Psybeam. Piplup comes in and actually does outspeed the Mismagius, securing the victory, but morale is at an all-time low. With half of my team dead and knowing that I let Fappy Bird die for no reason, I legitimately wished that I had wiped in this battle and not have to continue on with the shambles of what was my team. We scrounged together a makeshift band of misfits using some of the encounters I had gotten up until now, and prepare for the next big fight, the rival battle that's looming ahead of us. This rival fight is incredibly stressful. I don't yet have access to the easy experience grinding spot above Solaceon Town, and the majority of my team is significantly underleveled compared to his team. Still, we grind what we can and make our way in to fight Cynthia one more time. Double team strats are annoying, but Chaunters Jr. takes out the Staravia without too much hassle. We get a lucky paralysis against the Ponyta, letting us take it out without too much damage dealt. When out comes the Prinplup, the nightmare that my team cannot possibly beat. Prinplup mows through our Eevee, and against all odds, Piplup manages to take a Bubble Beam and chip off some damage with Mach Punch. I sack Candice for a clean switch into Chaunters, who I believe will fall in battle and secure my loss in this attempt. Except I'm wrong! Chaunters Jr., despite her quiet nature, is faster than the Prinplup. She kills the dumb bird, I sack the level 15 for a clean switch into Piplup, and finish off our next rival fight. So, we're in trouble now. Most of my good options are now dead, and I only have 3 actually decent team members at my disposal. I'm really beginning to question if this run is even possible at this point. We collect a few new encounters, notably Morton the Barboach, and head on out to Solaceon Town, where we find one of the luckiest encounters we could possibly muster, a wild Scyther, who we named Pokemon14 after the greatest YouTuber to ever live. However, with a Scyther in tow, I think we all know what time it is. More Metal Coat farming! After only about 20 minutes this time, though, we get our next Metal Coat, and evolve Pokemon14 into his truest and most badass form, Sizzler. We grind everyone up a bit and make our way east for our next encounter, a Marill! Now, I love Azumarill a lot, and I was really excited to see that Camp Garbo, the Marill, had huge power as its ability. We get to Veilstone, and after a lot, and I mean a lot, of grinding, we take on Maylene for her Cobble Badge. Xenophobia, my Gardevoir, uses Calm Mind Psychic to melt her team like butter, and we get the easiest gym badge of the entire run. In the Safari Zone, we capture Pooper the Wooper, whose ability Water Absorb will prove to be most beneficial in the coming Wake battle. After some more grinding, we prepare to tackle the stud Crasher Wake for his badge. Now, I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything like that, but the Wake fight was by far my best fight in the entire attempt. It is most definitely the fight I am the most proud of in the entire playthrough. I used my Fire-type Piplup as an easy pivot back and forth to Pooper to eat water attacks, allowing me to easily predict the AI and take out each member of his team with relative ease. Even when Pooper is unfortunately frozen solid by Ice Fang, I'm able to manipulate the AI into healing Pooper back up and allow him to secure me my shiny new Fen badge. Thank you, Pooper. Very cool. Moving right along, we stop some terrorists from doing more terrorist things, at least for now, and head north to Celestic Town for a fight I was personally very scared of, Cyrus. Cyrus actually ended my 3rd attempt playthrough right here in this battle in Celestic Town, so I'm a little bit nervous here. Thankfully, my team in this attempt is pretty hot, and I'm able to take out Cyrus without any casualties. Canalave City time now, and because our team is so fantastic, Cynthia goes down handily in one of the easier rival fights of the run. We grind up a bit and pick up some new encounters, notably Jeff, the modest Madmon, who becomes an absolute unit of a Mad Mortar. Anyway, Byron is an absolute joke, with Pooper walling just about every member of his team with a Yawn Protect cheese, netting me my 6th badge, the Mine Badge. We meet up with our friends and Professor Sharpknuckle, witness yet another terrorist attack, and go bully some guy named Saturn for having dumb hair and a dumber outfit. We fly back home to Twin Leaf, where we say hi to Mom and also pound the shit out of Mars with our team of absolute chads. Maybe I could have phrased that a little bit better. I don't know. Up north in the snowy roots with the best music in the game, mind you. We get some more encounters, including the baddest bitch on the team, Smegga the Sneasel. We grind up some additional team members, including a Ghastly named Mario, in preparation for the icy-cold 7th gym leader, Candice. Unlike the past few gym leaders, I actually kind of have to make a strategy to handle Candice. My 2 fire types, Piplup and Jeff, can handle the regular ice types with relative ease. But the Frostlass scares the shit out of me. Once a double team goes up, there's a very good chance it slips out of hand very quickly. Piplup takes out the first 2 Pokemon on her team, and Mario gets his moment to shine as he outspeeds and kills her Frostlass, allowing Piplup to come back out and knock out her Abomasnow. 7 badges in, and I'm feeling frosty fresh. We pull out some good boys onto our team and begin making our way into the Galactic Veilstone HQ for the climax of Cyrus's shenanigans. Cyrus himself isn't too menacing, but his honchkrow is plenty terrifying. Thankfully, Intimidate Cheese lets me switch in Pokemon 14 for the finishing blow. After much money and experience grinding, we begin ascending Mount Coronet to take on Team Galactic one last time. The Jupiter and Mars fight was relatively alright, but the two of them out of the way, we find ourselves back in the Distortion world, where our story begins. This time we know what Cyrus's Gyarados is packing and have prepared accordingly. Earthquake is scary, which is why I went ahead and taught Thunderbolt to Mario, who I think can easily take down the Gyarados. We get to Cyrus and the battle begins. Piplup easily takes down the Houndoom with a close combat, and out comes the fucker himself. I switch in Pooper to eat the waterfall, pivoting into Mario to eat the Earthquake. I clicked Thunderbolt, and, well, yeah, so far so good, so fucking... Thankfully, Mario doesn't die to the oncoming waterfall, but my shock was immeasurable at how the Gyarados almost pissed in my Cheerios once again. Thankfully, the rest of his team goes down without too much trouble. We approach the lord of this domain, Giratina, who has the best legendary battle theme in my humble objective opinion. I prepare for a long, grueling slugfest between it and my Pokemon, and I decide to go ahead and just yeet a ball at it. Welcome to the team, Girltina. Back in the real world, we collect ourselves, assess our box situation, and prepare for the final gym by grinding up some new ground boys. Trismex, a Swinub I caught up north, is the perfect candidate, and I begin pumping her full of levels to get her up to snuff with the rest of the team. Between Trismex and Pooper, Voltner really isn't that bad at all. The scariest part of his team is Focus Blast on Raichu, but by pivoting into Mario, I'm able to avoid that heartache completely. Electivire, despite his intimidating looks and stats, actually wasn't too bad, and the Luxray was basically a joke for Trismex to finish off, securing us our 8th and final gym badge. Victory Road is up next, and we scratch and claw our way through the caverns without a single casualty. Outside of the Elite Four, we gear up for our last and most challenging rival battle yet. Packing a full team of 6 this time, Cynthia is going to be the make-or-break point for this attempt. I'm very nervous. The fight begins, and he leads with his classic Staraptor Open. I lead with Piplup to bait the flying attack, letting me switch into Chonkers for free Intimidate and hardly no damage. He U-turns into Snorlax, which is troublesome, but not impossible. I switch into Camp Garbo, who unfortunately goes down to a critical hit body slam. Not ideal at all, especially this early on in the fight. Pokemon 14 finishes it off, but has to run the fuck away when he brings in the Rapidash. I try to pivot into Trismex by baiting the bounce, but forgetting about Sunny Day, I give him an easy setup that makes me quiver just a little bit. We take a lot of damage, but Mario eventually comes in to finish it off with Shadow Ball. Empoleon is a scary actor on the field, and I regrettably have to take a lot of damage from Brian to take it out with Trismex's Earthquake. The Heracross ultimately claims Mario's life once again with Rock Slide. More like Nintendo Across, am I right, guys? Anyway, Chonkers Jr. gets a clean switch in for Intimidate, and I switch into Piplup to hopefully live at least one close combat, which he manages to do with 14 HP left to spare. I mentally steel myself to lose my starter in this very moment. Watch him get a crit. When despite the odds, Piplup manages to take down the Heracross in one hit with Flame Wheel. The absolute Chad. Chonkers Jr. eats a close combat from Staraptor and takes it out. He sends in his Roserade. I switch to Pokemon 14 expecting a Poison Jab, but a critical hit Shadow Ball sends me both into the red and into a panic. This last crit essentially meant that something would have to die here. I let go of Trismex, my beautiful Mamoswine, who dies to the oncoming Shadow Ball. This gives Piplup the clean switch he needs to finish it off with Flame Wheel. With all our new deaths added in, the last rival fight proved to be a devastating battle for my team. With half the team dead, I was unsure of where to go from here. Obviously, I have Smega for the Garchomp, and I guess Pooper is also an option, but I need a 6th party member, and I just can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Slave mouth, simple, adamant, ripe with levels. For EV training, curse, and amnesia. Weighing the facts of Malv, it became clear what I must do. The second encounter of the game, the Pokemon I shunned for dragging me down in previous attempts, would become my saving grace for the entirety of the Elite Four. I began the long, painstaking process of grinding up my team to the highest level I could. I EV trained my children the best I was able to, focusing on both attack and HP for most of the Pokemon. And when I was finally ready, I stepped foot into the Pokemon League for the final stretch. The team I was bringing in was pretty good. Fantastic? Not so sure. But we had a Melv, and he was thirsty for the blood of his enemies, so I felt safe behind his soothing presence. Aaron isn't too challenging. While the Melv setup doesn't go off flawlessly, Piplup handles the majority of the big threats, while Pooper ultimately finishes off the Drapion and Scizor with the Yawn, Protect, Cheese, and Earthquake. Bertha also isn't too awful. Melv gets his setup off and takes out the Wishcash, Gliscor, and Golem pretty handily. The Rhyperior comes out though, and I'm scared of this puppy, no doubt. Melv is too weak to finish it off, and the switch into Pooper takes me down to the yellow immediately. I resign myself to sacking Pooper and manage to outspeed the asshole, getting off a waterfall in the process. However, just when I think Pooper's fate is sealed for sure, the Shell Bell activates. I had given Pooper a Shell Bell to hold because I didn't really have anything else of note to have it hold during the battle. The Shell Bell brings me back up to the green, letting me take one more Earthquake and finish off the Rhyperior the next turn. That said, it's a short-lived victory for her, as Hippowdon kills her anyway. Ha ha ha! With a clean switch, Pokemon 14 Swords dances and secures the one against Big Bertha. First death of the Elite Four, locked in. Flint's up next, and we begin by setting up the Melv sweep. We get off our amnesias and curses, set up fully, and take out that dumbass Houndoom. I'm feeling pretty good about myself here, Melv is fully set up, and to be honest, he's a water type, so there's really not a whole lot else that he can do to stop me, and then, Infernape comes out. Rubro. Switching means I lose all that setup progress, and staying in means I take a fat close combat. Weighing the options, I decide to take out at least one more Pokemon before I have to switch out Melv. Yes! The Quick Claw activates. The Infernape dies to Melv, and he brings in the Rapidash, who easily falls to Melv's greatness. The Mad Mortar comes out, and we get yet another Quick Claw activation to kill it too in one hit. Flareon does not get the Claw treatment, but even through a burn, Melv one-shots the Flareon. Melv, our savior, cannot steer us wrong. Lucian is our final roadblock to the champion. My plan this time is not a Melv sweep, but a Scizor sweep instead. I set up 3 Swords dances and prepare to rock his world. Mr. Mime goes down to an Etched Scissor, Alakazam dies to a very lucky roll Bullet Punch, and Espeon and Bronzong both die to some more Etched Scissors. With Reflect Down on his side, we get the Oko Bullet Punch against Delayed, and that's the end of Lucian. Honestly, ignoring the incredible luck that I had throughout most of the Elite Four, I would say, really solid run. Really solid Elite Four run. It went about as well as it possibly could have gone. With the Elite Four out of the way, however, we are now faced with the final challenge of Pokemon Platinum version. The Elite Champion, Cynthia. Melv was able to set up on the Spiritomb easily enough, though I did have a brief scare that pressure would impact how many curses I could get off. He manages to take out the Spiritomb and the Roserade, before I am forced to switch out under threat of extreme speed from Lucario. This switch is essentially a death sentence for Melv, as he is now the death fodder that Smedra needs to get a clean switch on the Garchomp. Thank you for all you've done, Melv. You will be missed. Switching between Pokemon 14 and Piplup, I'm able to defeat the Lucario with close combat, but not before taking a ton of damage from Aura Sphere. Milotic comes in and I make the tough, heart-wrenching decision to put Piplup down, as he chips away at Milotic with another close combat and dies to Dragon Pulse of all things? The chip damage does succeed in helping Chantras Jr. take it down in the end though, so Piplup's sacrifice was not in vain. Garchomp is out next, and we pay our respects to Melv as he falls in battle as well. Smedra obliterates the Garchomp with Ice Punch and attempts to put down the Togekiss with Ice Punch as well, but no dice. Smedra goes down to Aura Sphere. Pokemon 14 comes in and I Swords Dance up, predicting the full restore, and go in for what I'm hoping is the final Bullet Punch of the game. Uh-oh. Pokemon 14 will die here, and Chantras Jr. is gonna have to carry the torch to the finish line. Or so I thought, because the Chad Pokemon 14 KOs the Togekiss with a critical hit Bullet Punch, winning the battle against Champion Cynthia. In the end, only 2 of my team members made it to the finish line, and we had a grand total of 16 deaths at the end of the run. Well, there you have it, guys. This was my story of my final successful attempt at my Pokemon Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke. It was a ton of fun, like a lot of fun, and being able to share the experience of it with people on Twitch was a really fulfilling and rewarding experience. With that said though, I do hope that you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed creating it for you all. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. I mean, come on, what is stopping you guys? It's free, it's easy, just do it, please do. Also, if it tickles your pickle, you can go check out the Twitch as well. It's where all of the footage from this video came from. It's where I streamed all of my attempts live. You can go and check it out. We're playing through Pokemon's Sacred Gold version, a Drayano ROM hack, right now. So if that interests you at all, you can go and check it out and watch it and support, and it's a lot of fun. This was great. You guys are great. I do hope to see you guys around. Please subscribe, follow, all that good shit. Or don't. Fuck me, I don't know. Just get my mic. I hope I didn't pick up on that. Oh god. I'll see you guys around. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye. Some cucks are bullying a guy. Some cucks are bullying a guy. Some cucks are bullying a guy in the middle. Some cucks are bullying a guy.